In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the beautiful new Lighthouse stamp from the 2J Stamp Company onto fabric so that you could put it into this sort of embroidery hoop and sort of decorate around it. I'm going to show you how we actually make this panel and how easy this is to do. So, to start with, I'm just going to bring in one of the Crafts 2 ink blending mats. These are resistant to solvents, which actually makes it really, really good when you're using the Izink pigment inks. And here I've got a piece of calico. This is just really thin, really cheap natural calico. I found this takes the colour beautifully and looks really nice when it's actually in the frame. So all we need to do to start with is to stamp the image. So I'm going to bring in my stamp press, take my fabric and lay it in, and just put the magnets on as I would do normally as if this was paper. So I'm treating it as if it was paper. The only preparation that I've actually done beforehand with this is to give it a good iron to make sure it's nice and flat. So I'm going to take my stamp and just lay it in the middle. Because we're going to frame it, it doesn't actually matter where it goes. Pick it up on the lid. I'm going to ink this and stamp this. Now, there is no intention of this to be washed, so it doesn't really matter which ink you're using. You don't need to use a fabric ink. I'm using Memento, as I found that gives me a really nice crisp image when I'm actually colouring over the top. So I'm just going to stamp that as normal, and make sure when you're going onto fabric, as with anything really, that you're pressing everywhere on the stamp to make sure that it connects properly. And it's really important, if you haven't got a stamp press for this, make sure you've got something like the Crafts 2 stamping foam mat or a piece of foam down. You're going onto fabric and it will slip and slide. It needs that little bit of foam in it, which of course the press trim press has got in. So you can see there I've got a beautifully crisp image all stamped through with no problems. So we'll slide that out of the stamp press and we'll pop that to one side. And now we're going to get started. So the first thing I need to do is to just dampen the fabric a little bit. So I'm going to take one of the little misters. So this is a Crafts 2 little mini mister. Perfect for giving a really fine mist over the top, because I don't want it soaking, but I just want it to be a little bit wet so the colours will run slightly. So I'm going to actually start now with the Lighthouse. I'm going to start at the top. So to do that, I'm going to take the grey colour, which is in the blue selection. And these are the Izink Pigment inks. These are a beautiful, viscous, pure pigment colour. And these are actually permanent on any surface. So that's fabric, glass, paper, card, concrete, acetate. Absolutely so useful. But the amazing thing is with them, they're actually water soluble when they're wet. So it means that I can use a water brush and I can actually add a little bit of water to this colour. So I'm adding a little bit of water to the colour. I'll bring this in a little bit more so you can see it. So I've laid down using the brush that's in the set. So this is the fantastic thing. They've got this it's like a nail varnish thing with a brush, so you can apply them directly from the brush, or you can apply the colour down, making sure you don't waste any. And I can take water and I can add water to this, which gives me tones and shades, and that's while it's wet. Once it's actually dry, water won't move it. So all I'm going to do is just go over the top with this colour mixed with the water of the Lighthouse. You see that? I'm going to go over the Lighthouse, and I like this sort of bluey grey colour. So what I'm going to do is take the bluey grey colour and just add a little bit in along the waves. I'm not being careful. I'm not massively following the actual colours or the design on the stamp. I'm just going through and putting a little wash on of that colour. So we go through like that, and where I'm doing is just literally where it's the lightest. So next I want to actually put some rocks in. So I'm going to take some of the brown colour, which is the marron or chestnut. I'm going to take a little bit of the brown. I'm going to take a little bit of the orange, and this is actually called orange, which is nice burnt orange. I think Seth named this. These colours were designed by Seth Apter. So you've got some beautiful shades in here, some bright jewel tones and some really nice soft colours. And I'm just going to mix those together a little bit in the center so that I get a little bit of a warmer brown. And again, I'm going to go over and I'm just going to paint the rocks. So all I'm doing is putting a base colour down. If you find your colours don't flow, take a little bit of water out from your water brush and put a little bit of water in, and they'll flow a lot easier. So all I'm doing here, taking a little bit of those two orangey brown colours, there we go, and just putting in the basis of the rocks. Now I'm going to take a little bit of black, and again this is just black. Well, I think Seth's called it After Dark. So I'm going to take a little bit of the black. See how easy they are to use. You're not squeezing out things all the time. I'm going to add some of that black in to this colour to give us a darker brown. And all I'm going to do now is take this and go along the sort of the tops of the rocks. So I'm effectively colouring as I would be if this was paper. But we know that these inks will work permanently and stick onto the fabric beautifully. So I'm just going to go around, there we go, around the edge, colour that in so that I've got a nice sort of shaded sort of headland or rocks. So next we're going to put some of the sea in. So I'm going to take here, this is the Celestial Blue, which is sort of like a dark intense blue colour. So I'm going to take some of that and lay some of that down. And I'm going to take the Volubilis, which I love the name of this. It's a French flower. It's actually called ultramarine in English, but the French, I just love the Volubilis name. So again, I'm going to put some of that down, which is easy to mix the colours. And again, a little bit of water on my water brush. Take the blue. And I'm just going to take the blue around the tops of the waves and here where the sea is out there. So take the blue, there we go, put that on. I'm then going to go in with a bit of the Volubilis, so the lighter, more ultramarine blue, and I'm going to fill in almost any gaps. So this is exactly the same, as I said, that you would be doing if you were using normal colours, using pencil crayons or your alcohol markers or anything like that. I'm just colouring it in. Now we just take that shade and we can see there we're getting the sea sort of moving. Oops, I missed some rocks there. So let's pick some of those up and just do that. And if your inks do start to go a little bit, you can just add a little bit more water. So let's just darken that piece in there. A little bit more blue. So I love using a water brush because I don't have to have different brushes for different colours or wash them in between, because you don't want to do is to create lots and lots of water on this. You don't want it very, very wet. You just want that little bit of dampness just to help it work. Okay, so we've got our main base. Now this to me is when we bring the magic in this, because you've got the white pigment ink. So this is pure white. I think it's called Avalanche. So I'm going to lay down some of the white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my water brush, and for this section I would use the small tipped water brush. They come in 3 sizes, small, medium and large, and I would use the small one. And I'm just putting some highlights on the left hand side of the lighthouse that we can see there. Where you've got these bands across, I'm going to colour those in. So it's really simple. I'm going to put a little window in there. We're going to put the little door in there. Doesn't matter if they don't exist in the stamp. We do what we like to do. And then I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to the headland. So I'm just going in roughly with the white. And a little bit here where the waves will be against the shore. Again, a little bit here over the top. A little bit of highlight. And then all I'm going to do is just use little dots and strokes and put almost like the crests of the waves in. So I'm picking up the ink with my water brush and I'm just popping those in. Really simple, following the lines that are on the stamp. Anything you think is too heavy, just wash it out using your water brush. and that's why we make it just a little bit damp, the fabric. So a little bit there, a little bit there, and I could carry on with this for absolute hours. I'm then going to take a little bit more of the volubilis, and you'd keep going with this until you are happy with the state of the sea. So all I'm going to do now is add in some little highlights of the blue, and you'll see just how they shade them in will just work really well and give us that beautiful sea look. So there we go. Let's put a little bit more in. So you would keep working on that until you're happy with it, but I actually love that sort of basic look of it there. Okay, so next we need to do the sky. So don't worry there where I've put my thumbprint in and marked it. I always get inky, I can never keep clean. What I'm going to do now is take the mister again, and I want to really soak that sky. I'm going to take the bluey colour that wash I've got, a little bit of grey, mix them together until I've got a real washy colour, and all I'm going to do is paint that in roughly, picking up my colour each time. So we just literally paint that in. So I've got the sky, and I'm not being solid, I'm leaving it in patches, and I'm letting the brush do its work. A little bit of white will give us a beautiful cloud. And if we pick up a little bit of the grey, I've got a little bit of black in this as well, and just put a little bit of that just on the top of where those clouds are. There we go. Take the water brush and just wash that out a little bit. We've then got an almost stormy sky. Really simple. Anywhere you've missed, anywhere you can put colour back in. So I sort of over misted that lighthouse a little bit. So we'll just put him in. A little bit missing there. We'll have the blue colour coming into the scene. Anywhere you want, just keep adding colour in until you're happy with the sky. And this is the great thing, is these mix beautifully, and the stamped image gives you all the detail that you need to do it. So there we have quite a simple scene of a lighthouse worked through. Obviously this is wet. When it dries it will crisp up, but all I want to do now is put a little bit of the light in. So I'm going to take this one, which is Mimosa, which is a bright yellow, and I just want the tiniest little bit of this, and then again water, mix it together, and I'm just going to put out a section of light, pull it from the lighthouse just like that. There'll be a little bit going out the back as well, and we just pick up a little bit of white just to highlight that yellow going off into sea. And there we have a really simple, beautiful painted panel, and once dry you can frame it like I have here, and the colours will become more intense, the colour will soak in, but you can frame it as I've done here using an embroidery hoop. And I've even coloured the embroidery hoop, this was a wooden one, using the grey colour, so the thunder cloud, so that it matches exactly with the picture, and stuck a few little shells and things on.